Welcome to Born for the Trades, a home service podcast. I'm your host, Mandeep Bala, sitting next to my co-host, Shreya.
Hey, everybody.
And we are here at Home Service Freedom, and we have our special guest, one and only Brigham Dickinson. Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Join us as we dive deep into the world of home service entrepreneurship, interacting with industry leaders, coaches, and entrepreneurs about their experiences, challenges, and victories. Through their inspiring stories, we hope to equip our listeners with the tools and knowledge they need to succeed in the competitive home service industry. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, tune in to Born for the Trades podcast for invaluable insight and real-world inspiration.
And Brigham, to the audience, to the listeners, you want to share who you are, what do you do? Let's get started with that.
Yeah. So Power Selling Pros, we train people on how to take care of customers over the phone. I've been doing it for the last 15 years. Happy to tell you guys how we started if you wanted.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. Cool. That's going to be fun.
Yeah. So I used to do digital advertising, believe it or not. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily by choice. It was back in 2008 and I was broke.
You mean digital marketing?
Yeah, as a matter of fact. I would sell it. Yeah.
Maybe it's ears picked up, right?
He's paying attention now. Yeah. So it was a company called Oozle in Utah.
Oozle.
Yeah. And they didn't have enough money to hire me officially as an employee. And I was just like, hey, I'll make sales because I can sell.
Right.
I'll make sales. And when I make a sell, you pay me.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought that was great. And one of my clients, his name was Troy Nearings of Nearings Plumbing and Heating in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I started working with him. He brought me in within 2 weeks and he says, hey, your leads are no good. I said, my leads are no good. And he's like, well, they just want a ballpark price. They just want to know what you charge to come out. They just want to talk to a technician. And I said, well, those are leads, Troy. You should book those calls and wow those customers is going on. Now, lucky for me, I used to work with a company called Arctic Air in Chico, California. Yeah. So yeah,
That's great.
small world, huh? Well, Kevin Comerford was the district manager there for service sectors before he started his own business, right? And he trained me on how to answer the phones. And so when I was talking to Troy, I was like, dude, you just need to train your CSRs. I know how to do it. I've been taught and I can teach you too. And so next thing I know, I started training CSRs, and then he referred me to a guy named Tom Robichaud in Boulder, Colorado, Precision Plumbing and Heating.
Oh.
And so I started working with Tom's guys. And it was funny about Tom because he was like, hey, I hear you're training Troy's team. I said, absolutely, I'm training Troy's team. And he said, I'd like you to train my CSRs as well. I said, that sounds great, but I'm going to need to do your advertising. And he said, no, I don't need any help with my advertising, but I'll pay you to train my CSRs. And of course, I thought, oh, okay, you will pay me. Okay, great, let's do it. Because I was broke. I was broke. So I thought, okay, cool. So I started working with Tom, and then Tom and Troy got together and they were talking, and they said, hey, we need to get Brigham in front of Mike Gugliero in East Brunswick, New Jersey. The
founder of CEO
Warrior and of Gold Medal.
Gold Medal.
Yeah, he since sold both of those, but he called me up and he said, hey, Tom and Troy are talking about you. They're saying how good you are as a CSR coach. And what you're doing is unique, right? Because we train people one-on-one twice a month using their own phone calls. We actually hold the CSRs accountable for the company. Last thing we want to do is give a contractor one more thing to do. They're not going to do it anyway. So we just go in and do it for them.
That's good service.
Yeah. So Mike was like, hey, if you do a good job for me, I will refer you to everybody. And at the time, I was just like, okay, he's just looking for a good deal. But sure enough, he started referring me to everyone. I started hiring all my friends. And you guys, as you can tell, I don't have a lot of friends. I hired all my friends. And next thing you know, we started working with a bunch of heating and cooling companies, plumbers, electricians, and so on and so forth. And today we work with over 1,000 trainees in our program, all CSRs, dispatchers, and lead coordinators. We've got a team of coaches, a team of call monitors, and what they do is they monitor phone calls. All the coaches take those calls in and they listen to those calls with CSRs. And then twice a month for about a half hour, we're having CSRs listen to their own phone calls, and we just practice with them on a regular basis. And in most cases, we're able to take call conversion up by 20%.
Wow.
Yeah, the industry average without training is about 50 to 60% calls versus set appointments. So when we go in, we start working with them. Generally speaking, within the first 3 months, we can get them up to 70%, no problem. It's that 70 to 85, and that 85 to 95 gets a little bit more difficult. And so what we do is we take them through 4 levels of certification. Takes about a year and a half to complete, but by the time we're done, they are booking calls, they are wowing customers. And the most important thing is that they're the only ones, right? Your company is the only ones going out to the customer's home. Because at the end of the day, believe it or not, you're going to be blown away by this, but the technician doesn't want to be one of 5 bids. And you believe.
I believe I hear it every day.
Yeah. And the homeowner doesn't want to be one of 5 bids either.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so whose job is it to make sure that the technician is the only one going out to the customer's home? Well, it's the CSR, it's the dispatcher, it's the lead coordinator. And so, I mean, obviously the lead coordinator is making sure the comfort advisor is the only one going out there. If you're the only one going out, if that technician is the only one going out, chances of their cell going through is 100%, right?
What would you say are the common worst practices in the office so that owners can recognize the issues that they're having? Like the common worst practices that you see, and then what you counteract your training with that specifically.
So that's a great question. It's generally because they're understaffed. I know this is weird. This is totally weird, right? But the fact of the matter is that they're understaffed, and they don't have enough people answering phones. And so we've done 2 things to combat that, right? Number one, we train the CSRs to make sure that they're being very efficient over the phone. So without training, your average call, if it's done in a way that it's the call's booked, it's going to be 5 to 6 minutes. But we've trained the CSR on how to do it within 2 to 3 minutes. And the way that you do that is that you want to create a connection and take care of the customer's emotional needs right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So let me show you how you do that real quick, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this will help answer that question here. So customer gets on the phone, and even if they want a ballpark price, they want to know what you charge them out, they want to talk to a technician over the phone. It doesn't matter. Your objective is to create a connection with that customer and book that call. So,
Right.
hey, I'm just looking for a ballpark price. Great. Tell me more about your situation. What's going on? Well, I've got this air conditioner and it's blowing hot air. My gosh, that's terrible. How long's it been doing that? Oh, last couple of days. Well, look, we can help you with that. When would you like us this afternoon to be? What just happened there? They wanted a ballpark price, and by the time I was done, they're ready to book. Wow.
Very good book, right there.
And the reason why is because psychologically, the customer doesn't really know what to ask. So they don't know the difference between you and the next guy aside from your price. And so naturally, what are they going to ask? How much is it? Right? They don't know what else to ask. So the minute you start creating value for them, and the way that you do that is you show them that you're listening. You show them that you care. You reassure them that you've called the right place. And then you ask the right question. When would you like us out? Because at the end of the day, they want their problem fixed. In order to get their problem fixed, they have to have somebody out.
Love that.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it's understaffed because really CSRs are seen as revenue suckers in a company, right? So they're not producing that revenue. They don't want to hire more people that are not producing revenue in the office. Is that right?
You're totally right. They spend all of their time and all their money training technicians, training comfort advisors, not realizing all the while that their CSR is the reason why that technician works.
Yep.
So if you just give your CSRs the attention they deserve, I mean, I can call it cheap counseling, right? It's somebody that's talking to them for 30 minutes twice a month.
Right.
They get that personal attention. They realize that their job is important. That person who's coaching them also teaches them ways to even make more money. Say, for example, I mean, every company pays for tech set leads, right?
Right.
Why aren't we paying for CSR set leads, right? Customers on the phone, and the CSR has access to all their information. Hey, Mr. Jones, I'm looking at your notes. I noticed that your system is about 12 years old. Have you ever considered replacing it? Next thing you know, we're not just sending out a technician, we are sending out a comfort advisor as well.
Right. That's a great point. And Brigham, I wanted to ask this, like, what is a great description of CSR looks like? You know, a great, phenomenal CSR. What kind of
What's a real job description of a CSR?
Yeah.
What is it? It's a mystery.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
Okay, so in general, we're looking for somebody who has a great attitude. If they have a great attitude, they can be taught. They can be trained. If they're hungry, boy, we can teach them a whole lot. I mean, say, for example, selling service agreements over the phone. If they're willing to find ways to make more money because they're hungry, right?
Right.
Boy, I mean, say a customer gets on the phone and we can tell on the notes that they've had us out a couple of times over the last 2 years. Mr. Jones, I'm looking at your notes and I noticed that we've been out a couple of times. Have you ever considered a service agreement? Now, it's really cool. We come out in the spring, put on the phone, make sure it's running at peak efficiency, and it helps things like this, you know, the thing that you're dealing with right now. from happening. So if you wanted, I can get you going on it right now. Next thing you know, we're selling a service agreement. Now, if that person is selling 2 service agreements a day, they're making an extra $20 a day. What is that? 365 days a year. It's stinking money. So bottom line is what kind of person are you looking for? Somebody with a great attitude. You give me somebody with a great attitude, I'm going to make them a whole lot of money.
Right.
Is a lot. I would say that people don't usually look for hunger in a CSR when they're hiring them. They look for just a generally pleasant person, right? That sounds nice. That's it. But when we're looking for salespeople or technicians, we're looking for hunger. So just moving that over to the office to see that performance and hiring.
Yeah. Yeah. So the minute and the industry's changing, right? Because before you just wanted somebody nice, right? And the downfall of nice is you can be replaced. And of course, yeah, and I don't want to steal your thunder. I know you're going to talk about AI.
I would, but before that,
Yeah.
there is like, one more question. I think a lot of people
Yes,
have.
please.
So what kind of relationship should be there between a CSR and a dispatcher?
Okay. So tell me more about that, because I know what you're getting at, but let's make
Like-
sure that we're being
Like,
clear.
like there is like, a lot of, I would say confusion between like, these two in booking, like, dispatching and booking appointments. A lot of, I would say disruption is there. So how they can sync together, CSR and dispatcher.
Number one, the confusion of the
Yeah.
departments being separate.
Mhm.
Number two, what is the job description of a dispatcher versus a CSR? Number three, what is their relationship with each other and how important is the communication there?
Okay, so let's talk about the dispatcher for
There you
a
go.
quick moment.
Okay.
So the dispatcher's job is to make sure the board is full, that technicians and company advisors are completely 100% busy, right?
Mhm.
Now, if you have lead coordinators that are taking care of the company advisors, fine.
Right.
Dispatcher's job is to make sure the board is full and that technicians and company advisors are absolutely 100% busy, right?
Right.
The CSR's job is to make sure that they book every call that comes in. Now, what happens is, and this is the mistake that occurs, okay?
Mhm.
The mistake occurs when the dispatcher goes into a CSR department and says, stop booking calls.
Mm.
The minute you tell a CSR to stop booking calls, guess what you're going to get? Less booked
Let's-
calls.
Yeah.
Don't do that, ever.
It's all the time.
Yeah, so a dispatcher's job, very simply, is to work with the technician, create a connection with that technician. Why? Because your goal is to get the most out of that technician possible, right?
Right.
And that may mean that you might need to do some favors here and there, right? Hey, I know you have that fishing trip coming up. I'm absolutely gonna make sure you get on that fishing trip. Here's what I'm gonna do, A, B, C, but here's what I need you to do for me. I've got something coming up this day, something coming up that day, and this family needs you, not this technician, not this other technician, you, sir, right?
Right.
And so you send that technician out, you take care of that technician. Boy, if you were to do that from a dispatcher standpoint, my gosh,
Oh my God. That's amazing.
it would change the world.
The tech shouldn't be dreading the call.
Yeah.
That was me. I mean, in the field, we always were like dreading the call to the dispatcher, because the dispatcher is gonna, excuse my French, give us shit and like micromanage us and make us feel like, why are you talking to me like that? And that relationship is so important. They're doing us a service and we're doing them a service.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys work together. Now, a dispatcher is kind of the pilot.
Pilot.
And that pilot's got to make sure that everything's running smoothly. Well, the best way to run things smoothly in an office is to recognize that you're dealing with people. Right? And people have emotions, and people get tired, and people want to be understood, and they want to feel cared about, and they want to feel reassured that you've got them.
Yeah.
If they feel that way, they're going to do anything for you. They just need to feel that you'll take a bullet for them. The minute they feel like you'll take a bullet from them, they will take a bullet for you.
So with that emotional aspect, that goes into what Mandeep wanted to talk about, because with it being, the emotions are really important in this process,
Yeah.
because that's what creates action in people is emotion. So
Empathy.
when we talk
Empathy.
about artificial intelligence, and we talk about, all I hear about is CSR and dispatch being replaced by artificial intelligence all day long. That's what people are looking forward to. What do you think about that subject with what you do?
And a lot of people are scared to death, that and excited too. So I see like two versions.
Excited.
Excited. Like,
SARS are scared
like-
to death, right?
do you think that human can replace this thing?
So your question is whether AI can replace humans?
Like, yes.
Yeah, so look, there's this model, let's call it the Amazon model. In an apples to apples comparison, the lowest price wins. And Amazon is killing with that model, right? They're killing it. And then there's the Chick-fil-A model. You think AI is going to replace anything at Chick-fil-A?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not even working on Sundays,
Yeah.
right? And they're charging 3 times as much as McDonald's,
Yeah.
right?
It's impeccable.
Yeah. So the question is what kind of model do you want?
Right.
Right? So here's the thing. When you create a wow experience for the customer, what you're doing is you're delivering the unexpected. Nothing about AI is unexpected. Why?
Right.
Because it's programming us to do what is expected.
Yeah.
So the minute you start doing what is expected, well, then you've just begun to monetize yourself. You basically decide you haven't monetized yourself at all. You basically have you sold out to mediocrity. The endless sameness that occurs on Amazon. If that's what you want, go for it.
Love that
Love it.
comparison. That's the best I've heard actually, is the comparison of, okay, that is a model. And if you like that model, then do that. But this is another model that continues to work and will never go away. It's just you're choosing like quality over quantity or quantity over quality.
Anything that is customer facing, okay, just consider how you justify your 20% margin on every product that you sell, right? The way that you justify it is the value you create in your interaction with the customer. So from that first phone call, I want to experience wow. Right?
Yeah.
So whatever that is, and the way that we do it is listening, caring, reassuring, asking the right questions, creating value, being grateful. By the time they hang up, they're like, wow, I'm done shopping, and they don't call anybody else.
Yeah, that's
So
what I think.
our objective is to do the unexpected over the phone, do the expected in the home, so that when we get to the price, finally, right? Because we have to be there an hour and a half, right? When we get to the price, it's who cares what the price is? I like you. I'm buying you.
And science has already proved that you can't sell logically. You can only sell emotionally. Those are the best salespeople in the world. That is what incites action, right? So that initial, sure, logic gets people interested, but it doesn't sell the job, right? So that would be selling through logic, is depending on AI for sales. Now, AI is a training tool, right? So that's what we've been hearing about recently, like with Rilla. Is AI as a training tool integrated with these processes so I can learn what I need to learn faster and better, but I am still as a person increasing my skills and doing it myself, because at the end of the day, no robot can sell better than me.
And overall,
Man.
overall, I think it's all about the experience that you give, like what Shreya just mentioned about emotions, right? Empathy, and overall, what kind of experience you are giving to the customer. That what matters.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
The-
into the next subject, because I'm staring at it in front of me and I haven't been able to stop, is so you've written a couple of books. And this one specifically, Something to Give, is about leadership, right? So first of all, what got you into writing at what point? And then can you tell us a little bit about your new book?
Yeah. So I write to just refine my thoughts. It's important for me I just love to journal. And I also I like to write my stories, and there's more to it than that. So my father-in-law was one of the best auto sales trainers in the world. His name's Paul Rogers.
Oh, I may have heard of him.
Yeah, so he's really good, but he passed away suddenly when he was 56. And as soon as he passed away, I started going online to find him. Because as soon as somebody passes away, you're like, dude, okay, where's this stuff? Why? Because you want to still be close to him. You want to find a way to connect with him.
Right.
I couldn't find anything online. I couldn't find anything. I reached out to his company and said, hey, did you record anything? Nothing. This guy had done hundreds of breakouts and speeches and so on and so forth. And they captured none of it. And if nothing else, I wanted to make sure that as soon as I'm done, right?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I wanted to make sure that my kids could go online, type in my name, and see me speak.
Legacy,
Exactly.
media existence, right? And
Exactly.
the
Same thing with my books. They'll read stories in there about them, Sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional.
Get emotional.
No, 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 feel free, like be yourself. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, well, like I said, I look up to my father-in-law a lot. And I just want to make sure that my kids, kids, whenever they think about me, they know exactly where I stand. All they have to do is go online, type in my name. They'll see as many videos as they want to see. They'll be able to read my books and see exactly where I stand, regardless of whether I'm good or not. And that's why I do it. One thing.
Wow,
Wow.
that's the best why I could have ever gotten.
That's amazing. And let's share like, your books, like, all the books, I would say, you want to share with the audience, with the listeners, so that they can actually look for it, read it, and take
Yeah. So you can go to brighamdickinson.com, BrighamDickinson. And all 3 books are there on that website. It's Pattern for Excellence. And that's our foundation principles that we teach for CSRs, dispatchers, link coordinators. The second book is Patterned After Excellence. And that's when I was this is an interesting journey for me. I was recognizing the difference between applying truth in my life in a moment as opposed to caving to human tendency. And I just would share those experiences, not just my successes, but also my pitfalls. And so just going through that process, it was just something I really wanted my kids to have. And so I share it with everybody else as well. And it seemed to work out pretty well. And this book here is called Something to Give. Just came out a couple of weeks ago.
You want to share it like on camera?
Sure.
That would be
Hopefully,
something to
hopefully you can zoom in here.
Well,
Cool.
Yeah.
But the objective here, I own a few businesses. I own a night answering service as well. I also own a post-workout recovery company. So basically, as soon as you're done with the workout, you can go and get work done, whether it's massage or cupping or scraping.
Wow.
Or
I had
compression
I had
foods.
no idea about that.
Yeah, so I've got 2 locations. We've got a 13% profit margin. It's actually working out, surprisingly. It's going great, and hopefully you'll see one in every major market in the United States one day.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, let's do
And
it.
in Tampa too.
Good too. But it's fantastic and super fun to do. All these businesses, they run by themselves. And so in the book, what I've done is I've explained how to build a business and get it running by itself so that you can still not just have financial freedom, but freedom over your time as well.
That journey to become a leader worth following.
Yeah. So today it's not just about having a purpose that drives the organization. It's also about the person that's leading the organization. And so that person needs to be somebody who's worth following. And I'm constantly working on it, right? I'm not perfect. But I find that as I work on myself, my people tend to work on themselves as well, as opposed to pointing the finger and saying, I suck. They're working on themselves because I'm working on myself.
You lead by example. You work on yourself, it follows with the team.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. You're not telling them to do anything that you wouldn't do yourself.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And Brigham, like your last question, would like to ask that what's the best advice that we give to the home service industry owners to take CSM department to the next level so that they can start now?
Well, I mean, obviously the last thing I want to be is self-serving. I take that back. The thing I want to be is self-serving at the point of this kid. No. Look, if you could do it yourself, if you can do it in the office where you have the time to dedicate towards your CSRs, give them that time, where you have the ability to listen to your phone, listen to their calls on a regular. I wouldn't do it on a Friday. I would do it on a weekend. But during the week, just listen to those calls, save certain calls for coaching purposes, and then take time with them. If you were to take a day with them on a regular basis, boy, it would change their lives. They'd feel super, super special.
That's huge.
That's number one. Number two, if you can give them a way to make more money, so it's not just a dead end job, right? Most CSRs are like, "Oh, I can't wait till I'm in accounting because then I can get $1 more an hour."
It's an in-between job for them.
It's such a mistake to do that. If they are good over the phones, you want to keep them on the phones. And the way that you do that is you incentivize them to set leads for comfort advisors, and you pay them the same amount that you would pay a technician. Don't treat them like they're second rate, right? If they sell a service agreement, you should pay them the same commission that you would a technician.
Totally. Yeah, especially over the phone.
Yes.
Especially, yeah,
That's time to do it, right? Customers still feeling emotional angst because the system's still not working.
right.
Whereas when the technician sells the service agreement, it's already fixed, and so the emotional angst is gone. It's hard to sell these types of things.
Statistics that they'll buy something else when the technician comes, when they already sold a service agreement, is so high. So they're producing even more revenue afterwards by selling that.
Yes. In your heart of hearts, if you believe as a contractor that you do not have time to do this yourself, let Power Selling Pros do it for you. We come in, we have a team of call monitors. We'll listen to your phone calls. We'll coach them twice a month using their own phone calls. Our coaches are being coached. They are monitored and they are coached on a regular basis. So even the coaches that are working with you are being coached, right? Even I have a coach that I work with on a regular basis. And so everybody is being
Right.
coached. And when you do that, you're going to see amazing results inside your call center to keep your technicians busy and make sure that the only ones going out to the customers.
That's amazing. We're gonna link your website in the description. And but again, thank you for coming on our show. And to the listeners, look forward to the next one. And I hope you are going to be at the home service event next time if you didn't make
Absolutely.
it. It's phenomenal. And
Great show. Love it. Tommy Miller did a phenomenal job.
all right, thank you,
Thank you guys. This
Brigham.
was so
Thank you.
fun. Appreciate it.